Hello, 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 and welcome to this month's amazing lineup on the Her Version Impact panel. Her Version just hit its 1 year mark and continues to grow at rapid rates. We just hit our 100th guest speaker last week. We have over 450 YouTube videos, over 90 audio podcasts, over 400 members in our Facebook group. Be sure to join us, and drum roll. We just launched our first and definitely not our last podcast marathon. For the first time ever in history, we have had 12 hours straight of females only speaking on our platform. We promise to continue to grow and expand and provide you with beneficial information to help you in your everyday life. I am thrilled to have a female panel filled this month as we speak about depression and anxiety, something so many women and men are dealing with, especially right now. The conversation around this topic will be broad and will guarantee to educate you on so many areas of your life. Join us as we dive deep into our personal journeys and what we have created for ourselves in order to better our lives. There will be live Q&A for those of you that are already jumping on live for the next 2 hours. So get your questions in the comments. For those of you that don't know me, I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. If you are new to this podcast, make sure you follow, like, subscribe, and share. Let's jump right in.
Okay, so hello again. I want to give just a little bit of background to lead up to the question. So, when I was at, I would say my worst, when I guess I had not quite yet been diagnosed officially with having, a clinical depression, but I was low, y'all. It was really bad, and there was one evening where I just could not turn off the cycle of horrible thoughts. I just couldn't do anything. I was just sobbing. And I called the first friend I could think of to call. And I remember, sobbing on the phone to her and just saying, I just want to die. And she chastised me, right? And she told me that, no child of God would say things like that. And I should be ashamed of myself. And, to be fair, she had no clue. I didn't even know officially that this was depression. I didn't know what was happening. All I knew was I was really bad and I needed somebody to say something. I didn't know what the something was, but it wasn't that. Okay. And then after that conversation, it was clear that she did not really want to have too much to do with me. I think maybe I scared her. I don't know. So I said all that to then ask the question: have any of you experienced someone either distancing themselves or fully just removing themselves from your life as a result of whatever you were experiencing through depression or through anxiety? Torie.
So mine was actually a really long time ago. When I was 10, I moved from my beautiful home in New Hampshire to South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, and different culture, different people, different weather. It was a pretty drastic change for me. And so I had, all my friends were in New Hampshire, and these were girls that I was basically born next to. And we all homeschooled. So it was like even throughout the week, like we would see each other and then again at church. And so when I went through really bad depression for probably 4 years, and where it was like I was crying all the time. I couldn't find joy. It sounds crazy to have like a 10-year-old have those symptoms, but I did. I really did. And every time I was on the phone with my friends, I would cry and I would just tell them, how nothing was the same and everything like that. And these are kids. Like they want to go have fun. They want to make new friends. They want to, do all these things. And I lost all of them. Like all of them would just stop calling me. They would stop picking up. And those Facebook memories that you see like pop up, there was one that popped up and it was like my status. It was so melodramatic. I'm embarrassed, but it was like, it's official. Nobody likes depressed people. And every year I see that pop up and I just remember how like all my friends disappeared, which I get, like they're kids, like they don't want to deal with somebody like that. But at the same time, it's just, it's remarkable where I was and just like I didn't know how to hide it then. And I learned those skills in high school and then in college where it was like, I knew that if I let on how I was really feeling and I let people see my depression or my anxiety, they were just going to poof, leave. And so it's taken a lot for me over the years to open up to people and be like, even on medication, like I still have bad days. Like I think it was Thursday this week. I'd had like 20 good days in a row and I'm like feeling really great. It was like Thursday, I bottomed out and like I called my sister. I told her, I was just like, yeah, today's a bad day. It really is. And I let my boyfriend know. I was like, I've had a lot of good days in a row and today's just, it's not happening for some reason. And so, but it's taken a lot since that experience to be able to open up to people and be like, yeah, I'm depressed right now. Like I can't find joy in anything. I'm really low. I'm crying all the time and it'll pass. Like it always does. But like, that experience was really hard for me when I was a kid.
Thanks for sharing that, Torie. I appreciate that you can now look at it and think, wow, I mean, that was really heavy for my friends and they didn't know what to do. And so the only thing they knew to do was to step away. I know that had to be hurtful for you. But I mean, the wisdom that you've gained from it, thanks for sharing that. Yeah. Did I see another? Marie. And then Tessa.
For me, it was when I was breastfeeding, when I first had my baby. I had like a lot of friends. I was very social, and then my baby I had to lay down, and I had to put her feet above my head, so she was kind of like this direction, and that was the only way that I could breastfeed. So I was home by myself, locked in a door. Like that's what we did all the time. And people just eventually stopped calling. They stopped asking to go out. They stopped because I couldn't. And that was a very lonely time in my life.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Just out of curiosity, both real quick for Torie and for Marie, have you reconnected with people that kind of stepped away?
No. It was hard because a lot of those same people went to my college later. They came down to South Carolina and we went to the same Bible college and never. I tried, but no.
Okay.
I did briefly reconnect, and with everything happening with the divorce and everything like that, I have no connection to those people anymore.
Okay. Well, the truth is, everybody can't go with you where you're going. So just putting that out there. All right, Tessa.
Yeah, thank you. I think there's two experiences, and like obviously I've missed most of the conversation from before, but I know we also talked about anxiety and depression. So I've once, about 10 years ago, I suffered from what I call reactionary depression. So it was specific. It's similar to, like, it's all the symptoms of clinical depression, but it's related to one specific event, or different specific events could be. So in my case, it was a really bad breakup, and I went into that in a time where I worked with people that I supported that often had suppression or depression or anxiety, and I'd studied social work and mediation and coaching and I don't know what, and I was very much like, this is not happening to me. This there's no way that I should be able to deal with this. There's no way that I should be having these things. But I had a really great counselor who really said, look, you can't fight this. This is happening whether you like it or not, and you have to go through it and just do the best you can. And I think there was two things happening. The distancing was partly me, that because I felt partly ashamed of it and I felt I should be able to deal with it, that I didn't want to see some people because I didn't want them to know that I was struggling. I had to really consciously distance myself from my mom to a degree, who really wanted to be there for me, but could not do it in a way that felt helpful to me, so that it made me feel worse. And I found that one really difficult, but I did manage in the end to talk to her, and that we could still talk about some other things, but really talking about what was going on, I had to really protect myself, if you like, to say, look, I can't have this conversation every time I leave it feeling that I have to justify myself or have to defend what's happening. And we agreed that she wanted to be there for me, but could only do it in her way, and that her way just wasn't helping me. So it was painful for both of us, I think, but it actually was in a way a good conversation, but that was very hard. And I mean, with her later, like about other things we can talk, but there's like, yeah, we just have found a way of that certain things, it just doesn't work to deal with it if I'm in that space. And I think that's actually been good for our relationship, which had been quite on and off, if you like, since I was a kid. It actually helped our relationship in the end once I came out of that depression, that we could be more honest with each other, what works and doesn't, and that actually helped the relationship in hindsight, I think. But I've also been really lucky that I had some people around me where I could really be that accepted that I wasn't great, and I was like, I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't do anything, and that I had some friends that really were like, doesn't matter, you come over to us or we come over to you and we eat with you. So that was my way of making sure that I got to eat and stuff. So I also had the other side of it, where I could have some people where we could consciously just say, look, don't worry about it, you can be whatever way you are right now, and we'll make sure. And that was my way of looking after myself, because I couldn't do it for myself, and I had some people that could do it for me. But one thing I would like to add was that as a kid, I really, really struggled badly with anxiety and stuff. And for a long time, my way of dealing was to completely distance myself from everything and everyone, as a way of not feeling the overwhelm of feeling everyone's pain, feeling everyone's emotions. And that completely destroyed myself, if you like, because then I felt so disconnected. So I had to really learn a way of dealing with being sensitive, but not using disconnection as a way of trying to cope, because it actually was even more, I think, devastating, if you like, of like that then made me feel more lonely. So I think that was the other side, I think I just wanted to mention. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Tessa. Shelby, I see your hand. I want to just mention to Tessa, I think that was a beautiful story that you shared about the friends that were like, hey, we'll come to you or you come over to us, but either way, we're going to come around alongside you and help you through this. That is beautiful, because I know not everybody will have that experience, right? Not everybody will allow that experience. So I'm just so glad that you experienced that and that you shared that. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's one thing I always want to say to people. I said, look, asking for help is incredibly hard, but the hardest thing is to accept it. Because sometimes people want to help you, but to actually say, yes, please help me, and to not go, oh, no, that's fine, it's okay, don't worry.
Right.
I have found too that people actually, the right people, actually appreciate it when you accept their help. It's interesting. Yeah. If you find the right community, which we're working on building here at Her Version. So that's awesome.